Good afternoon, everyone. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Ways and Means Committee. I'm John Quincy, the chair, and joined by Councilmember Johnson, Councilmember Bender, Palmisano, and Yang, and we're a quorum of the committee, so we can begin to do the work of today's agenda. We have a pretty extensive agenda in terms of number of items. There are 38 items in total, and I think for just convenience sake, we'll begin with the public hearing, and then we'll move into the consent items after that. So this is a public hearing on the 2016 licensing fees. This approves the 2016 license fee schedule. It has no increase from the current 2015 license fee schedule. So I imagine the public hearing should go pretty quickly, but we would be remiss if we did not have overview and highlights of that. So Ms. Christensen, if you could, that would be great.
Thank you, Chair Quincy and members of the committee. As the Councilmember Quincy indicated, we are bringing forward a 2016 license fee schedule recommendation to you today that incorporates no increase in the licensing fees for 16 from 15. This is a continuation of several years worth of flat fees that are imposed upon the city's businesses. However, there are a few other changes within the fee schedule that we believe helps facilitate more business-friendly practices, and it makes it more user-friendly for residents and businesses within the community. We've included a new licensing level for rental licenses. This was recently brought before the City Council. We did delete many obsolete business licenses. If we had not issued a license for that particular business in a certain number of years, that category was removed. We also consolidated a number of licenses into areas where they were redundant to provide for more ease in businesses reviewing what their obligations would be to the city for opening a business. We are also looking at continuing some of these enhancements to the city's license and fee schedule in the future in cooperation with the city's implementation of its land management system. We are doing extensive business process mapping involving the Regulatory Services Department, the Health Department, CPED, and the information technology area to look at ways to increase our efficiencies, which, as you know, will help us in reducing our costs associated with processing business licenses, which we are then able to pass along to the consumer. So with that, we bring before you the 2016 recommendation for the fee schedule.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Are there questions or comments from my colleagues? Councilmember Johnson, I was hoping you'd jump in because it has so much to do with the work you're doing on the Business Made Simple. So, did you have anything? Just good news. Okay, thank you very much. As this is a public hearing, is there anybody here to speak on this item? Anyone? Anyone? Not seeing any. Close the public hearing and move forward this item for approval. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That item carries. Thank you very much, especially for thanks for Mr. Johnson and Mr. Huff for being here, as well as other staff who are involved in putting this fee schedule together. So we now can move into the next consent agenda, which is 37 items. There are 3 items from the Attorney's Office, 2 legal settlements, and 1 contract amendment with Restorative Justice Community Action that just approves an increase to the contract. It doesn't require an additional appropriation. The City Coordinator's Office brings forward several items. One is a facility use agreement with UROC, Northside Funders Group grant acceptance, and a gift acceptance for attendance at the 2015 Business Day at City Hall. The Communications Department brings forward a receive and file item. This is the annual audit of the Minneapolis Telecommunications Network, otherwise known as MTN, and it's required under state statute that we receive that financial audit report, and that'll be on a receive and file item. Finance and Property Services brings forward a number of items. One is the design services agreement with Hagen Christensen and Milliken Architects, and that's for the work on the Hamilton School facilities improvements. Excuse me, there's the lease renewal with Aggregate Industries, a contract amendment with Hennepin Healthcare Systems, contracts for professional debt collection services, and then a 2016 proposed property tax notice supplement. That's a receive and file item for, it got submitted to Hennepin County for distribution with proposed property tax statements. Contract with CenterPoint Energy Services for guaranteed supply gas service for water treatment plants. The Information Technology Department brings forward a number of items. One is a gift acceptance for fall of 2015. This is a schedule for covering accepting gifts for related travel expenses for Mr. Dahl to participate in technology conferences. There's a contract amendment with HLP, a contract amendment with A+ Systems, contract amendment with Bezatech. Item number 19 on the agenda is IT contract with Koenig for elections management system. Then there's a contract amendment with Deacon International. Item number 21 is a wireless Minneapolis community benefits account application for by the Atrium. And then item number 22 is a contract with Ryan Companies for a $95,000 for conduit installation, which would be a tremendous benefit for public safety as we're taking advantage of the construction season and installing a high-speed internet conduit through a conduit. The police department brings forward a master subscriber agreement for Minnesota Court Data Services for governmental agencies with Minnesota Office of State Court Administration. The IGR committee refers a couple items. One is the Federal Representation Services contract with Faegre BD Consulting. That's a waiver of conflict of interest, as well as a contract amount. The Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Committee brings forward the 2015 Emergency Management Performance Grant. The Minnesota Board of Firefighter Training and Education, Training Reimbursement Redistribution. Item number 27 is the Minnesota GI Bill on-the-job training apprenticeship program funds. This accepts $23,000 from the state of Minnesota for the initial hire payment of hiring 23 veterans. Minnesota Department of Commerce contract amendment. This is an increase to contract with the Minnesota Department of Commerce for a new not to exceed reimbursement of overtime for work performed by a police officer on a fraud detail and passage of a resolution approving appropriation of funds. Item number 29 is relates to a grant application for the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention grant application. Transportation and Public Works Committee brings forward items related to levying special assessments for a 50th and France parking facility. Mississippi Watershed Management Organization grant agreement. The municipal parking system contract with ABM Parking Services. The low bid with Meyer Contracting for Snelling Avenue and 24th Street East Street reconstruction project. Accepting the single bid for Egan Company for Minneapolis Intelligent Traffic Signal enhancements. Accepting the low bid with LS Black Constructors for Pump Station 5 roof slab replacement. Also accepting the low bid with Minger Construction for a bid for Nicollet Mall Sanitary Sewer Replacement Project, Phase 1, and authorizing an amendment to a contract with the Metropolitan Council for the 2013 Clean Water Fund Inflow and Infiltration Grant Agreement. Zoning Planning Committee brings forward the Arts Commission Ordinance. This considers the ordinance amending Title II related to funding public art in Minneapolis, defining related terms, and expanding the purpose and duties of the Art Commission. I'd be happy to move all of those 37 items for your consideration. Are there any questions, comments, anything that need to be pulled for discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. And those items pass. Thank you very much. It's pretty good time for just 38 items, but terrific. Thank you very much for everybody. We stand adjourned.